and welcome back to Wolverhampton. I'll start off by saying apologies for the delay and thank you for the response to the delay. I never really know how visible those community posts are, but the responses were lovely. Thank you very much. I always like to be transparent as possible with these things. It's important to talk about mental health. I just found myself at a kind of low point where I won't say the games were the deciding factor in this front, but both Football Manager and F1 Manager's actions didn't help. Those that watch the Formula One content as well will fully understand where I'm coming from on that front. The reasons for my stresses with Football Manager, this is why Football Manager annoyed me. So being in a place where my mental health wasn't the best to begin with, the fact that Football Manager still hasn't fixed this nonsense didn't help. I basically hate my entire team at this point in time because they're either wanting a new deal to reflect their ability or want to go out on loan because they're not playing enough, even though they are playing squad player. Although actually, to be fair, I think only one of these, Felix Udokai, is on that front. Gonzalo Guedes, I actually do want to get out. But there are also 3 people here who feel like they've been treated unfairly too many times by me because they've not been registered for the Champions League, even though either they don't need to be anymore or literally said, oh, it's okay, that's fine. And then when the next registration period came around and I didn't register them again because January is weird and you get to re-register before the 7th game and the 8th game for some baffling reason, but not the knockout stages. So when I didn't register them for the Real Madrid game, oh, why haven't you registered me? And then I said, I don't have space for you. And they went, oh, I understand, don't worry, which was very reasonable of them. I like them for that. So when I didn't register them for the 8th game, they went, you've treated me unfairly too many times. Literally, what am I supposed to do there? They've come to me with their concerns. I've talked to them. They've backed down with their concerns. They've agreed with me. They understood my position. And then the next time it comes up, literally a week later, because that's where the games are played in January, I've not registered them again, and they've kicked up a fuss, saying I've treated them unfairly too many times. You were fined 7 days ago. Not that it matters, we don't know who our opponent is, but Champions League round of 16. In March, we did sneak in 8th, thanks to beating Benfica on the final day, who finished goal difference. Goal difference mattered. Real Madrid sorted themselves out, added Bayern Munich. They finished 2nd and 3rd. Feyenoord, a usurper in 6th as well. We're expected to get through, but not there, frankly. Celtic and Rennes, they well and truly fluffed it. But if I haven't obscured it, and eagle-eye viewers may have noticed it, they're not the ones that have fluffed it the worst. Barcelona got 1 point from the last 4 games. Admittedly, actually, looking at their list of games there, considering you're supposed to play effectively 2 people from each tier, each pot as it used to be, Manchester United, Dortmund, Paris Saint-Germain, Milan, AC Milan, Spurs and Arsenal. That's not an easy set of fixtures. Admittedly, they drew to Nice as well, but Nice and Fenerbahce as the probably 2 that they would expect it guaranteed to win. Dortmund at home, they probably should have won. Arsenal at home, they probably should have won. Spurs at home, they definitely should have won. The home fixtures probably expected them to win them anyway, but it's not an easy set for them. But yeah, they still messed it up. Whoops. But I brought you back for the Premier League as I said I would, really. There was a moment where we were threatening to actually be in a title fight. For some reason, we're now 9 points behind, and I don't fully understand why. There was a point about what feels to be only about 5 games ago, but it could have been longer, where all the top 4 were separated by 2 points. So I don't really know what's happened. Lucas Perry, most clean sheets. We'll take that. Haaland's back. Højlund on his tail. I mean, it's to be, really, isn't it? This is the fight that people are expecting in the future, isn't it? Haaland and Højlund. Manchester United still haven't drawn a game. And to be fair, draws are few and far between on our front as well. We have had 1 since we last met, which probably is why it's partially surprising that I'm so frustrated with this game, because last time out, 6-1, 3-0. Things were going well here. I had got through Weinvember, which is when all these concerns had basically originally happened with the contracts and playing time. For the most part, we got through it. But Sports Interactive literally put in one of their posts pre-FM24 that they had improved player logic in terms of happiness and things like that, and player interaction. They had literally put that in to one of their pre-things, and everyone was like, oh, maybe this has been fixed now. No, it hasn't. It is arguably, actually, the worst I've ever seen it. This is basically a full 11. I haven't counted them, but I think that might actually genuinely be 11. Although, to be fair, I think Max Kilman and Pedro Neto are on there, even though they've agreed to wait till the end of the season. So really, it's only 9 people that are kicking up a fuss as things stand. But 9 is still 9 too many. I say 9 too many. I would understand if someone like, say, Elif Elmas was kicking up a fuss about wanting a new contract or something like that because he is fairly ambitious. That is his personality. I do have to clarify, I don't know which personalities are high ambitious without actually saying ambitious. But Matthias Cunha, who is fairly determined, usually indicates that things like ambition aren't particularly high because otherwise it would say ambitious. In fact, that probably means all of his hidden attributes are relatively low because it's gone on determined, which is a visible attribute. He's upset because he wanted a new contract of £160,000 a week minimum. Bear in mind, our highest paid player is someone I'm trying to get rid of, so really our highest paid player is him. One of 5 people on 80 grand a week, but is him. Anyway, we're fourth. Game since we last met. Asano Drago has sort of stepped down to the spotlight a little bit over this period. He has scored a couple of times, but in his absence, other people have stepped up. Most notably, Shaquille Van Persie has scored a fair few in this period. Both goals against Crystal Palace, one against Manchester City in the second leg. Rooney Bargy doing most of the business. In the first leg, yeah, we've smacked them 7-3 on aggregate. Don't really know what happened there. We also smacked West Ham 5-0, which was a Bellegarde hat-trick of all people. But we have also lost to Norwich and Fulham, both 3-2, in our last 3 league fixtures. There's a lot of cup games, of course, so the last league fixtures have been Norwich, Crystal Palace and Fulham. Yeah, which probably might answer a little bit as to why we're no longer in a title fight. But we played Manchester City in the league this time. They did beat us 4-1 at their place in the league at the start of the season, but we did just beat them 4-1 at their place in the Carabao Cup. I'll just say, Novadovic feels like I've treated him too harshly. He has played 20 games. He has started 20 games. He's basically played every league fixture and cup fixture that hasn't been the Champions League, because that's the only thing he's not registered for. It is absolute nonsense. It's also dawned on me, this is post-January window. So Guga left to Southampton for 21 million, the kind of exact point that we brought him in for. Brought him in for nothing, played him a bunch of times, sold him for 21 million. And Saudi Arabia finally came a-knocking and acquired Umar Soleh for £40 million. Basically the only person in our entire squad who apparently didn't like big games. Bought him for 10.75, played him a bunch, sold him for 40. He was never going to be first choice for us, really, but he had a release fee that seemed very reasonable and added very useful depth for us for a while, with the intention of selling him on eventually. I get they're Saudi teams, but something isn't quite right there with £650,000 a week. The only inbound due to Pedro Neto's season-long injury was the loan signing of Angelo, basically just to take over that role for the rest of this season. There's an optional £61 million fee in this. That's not happening. Also, just because it didn't actually happen in the episode, I realised as well, is that injury happened, ironically, against Manchester City. It's a broken lower leg. He's out for 4 months. Lucas Perry is also currently injured. It's the first time he's been injured for a serious amount of time, a fractured finger over Benfica. Thankfully not too detrimental, 4 to 8 days. Which does mean Alvaro Fernandez is actually our best goalkeeper, and he's registered because we had the space for him. So Alvaro Fernandez will be in goal. Daniel Iverson will be on the bench. Also because we did rotate a little bit against Benfica, the lineup here will be Alvaro Fernandez in goal, Bard, Kilman, Ørstegård, Aarons, João Gomez, Darvic, Ure Drogo, Smith Rowe, Angelo will start because Rooney Bargy's coming back from an injury. We won't risk him from the beginning. Van Persie will be up front. 11 goals for him now. Still 11 for Assam though. Smith Rowe is better than Cunha in a shadow striker role. Cunha's position at this club is now a little bit tricky because of that. I have had Angelo once before at the Hanover save on Twitch. He wasn't great. So I'll be honest, I've not really made much fanfare about that signing, even though it is kind of a wonder kid signing. It's only on loan as well. I'm really hoping Haaland is offside here because otherwise this is annoying. Thank God. Oh, he's miles off. Yeah, so I'm kind of hoping Angelo performs better here than he did there. But the kind of main reason for that is just simply because he was the best available option that would come on loan for a reasonable loan fee. We're paying his wages. That might be a penalty, although we'll get a goal instead. As soon as it didn't give the penalty, I felt like something else was happening, because I feel like in any other highlight, that would be the penalty. It says intervention even though literally nobody gets the ball. Akanji goes in on Asan, I think it is, and the ball goes straight through. It's clearly a foul. Nobody touches it out of those two. Aarons pops this ball in, Edison claims. We are at home here, so we should hopefully hold our own. I always like the fact that Edison, what the hell was that jump by Melvin Bard? He jumped so high and just got nowhere near it. But I always love how Allison is listed as Becker in the game and Edison is Edison M. I like the fact that the Football Manager reminds you that they have other names and they're not a Madonna situation. I don't know why they do it, because obviously in the real world they're not known as anything other than Edison and Allison. The same with Rodri being Rodrigo. I don't know why Football Manager does it. Oh, what's Darvish done there? What genuinely happened there? I think Haaland might be offside, actually. if it counts as them doing the pass, because I think Darvic basically kicks it against their player. He was onside anyway, but genuinely, what happens here? Oh no, Darvic, it's just a heavy touch. Darvic doesn't kick it against anyone. It's Foden that just smacks it first time to Haaland. It's just a heavy wayward touch. Yeah, Foden just takes it out of the feet of Darvic. Wow, okay. That's even worse then, really. It's not even an accident. Also, I think João Gomez has got injured. I might have to leave him on till half time, but like he's subpar, but okay, maybe I do need to take him off because that was absolutely woeful. Grealish is in, Grealish is in, Grealish is missed. Hampered by injury is the text thing there. Right, he's saying bring on Scott McTominay, even though we literally have a bench option that is better than him in that role. This is the weird thing. I said it with Formula 1. I had basically exactly the same rant, but the problems with Formula 1 are a little bit more overt than they are here in Football Manager. My issue with the Formula 1 game is the fundamentals don't work. There are parts of the fundamentals of that game that just need to be fixed for it to be a good game. Sports Interactive have done... Why is he basically just throwing that out for a corner? I mean, Ruben Diaz actually got there in time, but that was a terrible pass and I was on it. Sports Interactive have improved the fundamentals of this game. The match engine, like the match actual simulation, so much better. Graphically, it looks a lot nicer. Obviously, modelling-wise, there's not really been a huge change, but just in terms of lighting, the lighting, quite frankly, actually just makes it just feel so much nicer. Angelo comes in. Angelo. Okay. I appear to require the same Angelo I had at Hanover. Oh, great save by Fernandez. Wait, that was just wide? It looked like a really good save. The fundamentals Sports Interactive have improved. It's just the one thing that I found most annoying in the last 2 games, I think it is, still hasn't been fixed, which is the interactions and players getting upset over things that just fundamentally are incorrect. Van Persie's in. Oh, Shaquille Van Persie. He's finding it now. He's finding it. Took him a little bit of time to get up to speed with the Premier League, I think. Hassan, he's there again. Ruben Diaz actually makes a mess of that. He's on a booking, so he had to be careful not to foul Van Persie. But anyone who's watched me, particularly on streams, knows how much I hate Wine-Vember. I mean, so much so that I've coined it Wine-Vember, and other people have now started calling it that as well. If I leave Football Manager with anything, it's Wine-Vember, apparently. But Foden whips that one in. Haaland's under it. Darvic actually gets this head to the ball, apparently. Bart heads it to... Just let it go out, Melvin! That would have been a goal kick if you just left it alone. Although, we now have a highlight. Hassan comes forward. Finds Angelo. Aaron's on the overlap. No, that wasn't it. That was it. Okay, never mind. I mean, this is great first touch football up to a point, and now Darvic is in. Puts it across. What? It's a corner, apparently. Smith Rowe looks like he's given everything. It's 70 minutes in. We play this one short. Again, short corner is getting the highlight. Van Persie, where are you going, mate? Get it to the man on the edge of the box. He's passed it back to Addison, who I genuinely thought was just going to let it go in there for a second. Why was that a highlight? That was weird. There was actually kind of no part of that. That was actually a highlight. Irene Bargy comes on as our fundamentally best player. Elmas is the better Mazzala. Still try to bring Scott McTominay on. But yeah, that's the frustrating thing with FM24. It is this close to being an excellent game. It's this close to being probably the most enjoyable Football Manager. If it wasn't for the one fundamental bit that doesn't still work. Apparently I've forgotten to put Christian McFarlane on the bench there. Brano's come on for a booked Melvin Bard, who seems to get booked every week and I don't really know why. But we've beat Manchester City there. It just kind of fizzled out after scoring that second goal, which we'll take, quite frankly. Should just say our next fixture is against Forest rather than Leeds, as I kind of said last time round. Our Forest fixture in January got punted because of the insane amount of January games that we played in other competitions into this week, which actually is kind of fortunate because Leeds, unfortunately, have fallen off quite badly, actually. They're only 5 points off the relegation zone now. Meanwhile, Forest are only 2 points off Europe. So, in a probably frustrating manner for Leeds fans, they have kind of passed that baton of, doing surprisingly well, to Forest. So, we still actually play the team that has the role that I wanted to play next. It's just a different team, as advertised last time. We'll make the concessions to fitness levels where we can, and start with Iverson in goal, just give them both some game time, quite frankly. Bard, Kilman, Ørstegård, Fort at right back. Riedel in for the slightly knocked João Gomez. Darvic, McTominay will start this one. Actually, McTominay's coming back from fitness. I should probably just play Bellegarde if I'm going to do that. Matthias Cunha, Rudy Bargy will start, and Van Persie will continue to lead the line. Now clear of Hassan, of course, with those 2 goals. Also worth noting, we got through January without anyone tricking Rudy Bargy's release fee as well. Not even a sniff again. And I believe it runs out at the beginning of September, so if anyone wants to actually trigger it, they have to do it in this next window. After which, we're actually okay. Fabio Silva irritatingly has declared that he's leaving at the end of his contract in 18 months' time, which is a little confusing. Forest on the ball here, 2 minutes in. That's Van Persie nicking it off Ekdal. I mean, the goalkeeper's out of the goal. Just hit it first time, Shaquille. Okay, do that instead. I mean, the goalkeeper made a mess of it in every way, shape or form there. It's a mess up by Ekdal in the first place. And then, genuinely, what is the goalkeeper doing after this point here? Either get back in your goal as quickly as possible, try and actually stand off. He goes for a tackle. Prepare for the shot, at least. Actually, what? Hang on. I've just noticed the Forest back line. What are they doing? Østegård's not gone to that, but Van Persie on the edge of the box. Darvic trying to find a bit of space, doesn't find it. Bellegarde back to Bard, out to Kilman, who puts in a lovely cross. I wasn't expecting that from Max. Rooney, intercepted. That's irritating. Alanga, still Alanga, tackled by Fort. There's a Fort Knox pun there, Bruin, if he puts in a performance like that going forward. But, Rooney Bargy, close. Yeah, their back line confused me because they've got Niakite as a left back. Are playing Worrell in 2026. Had to think there for a second where we were in the timeline. Fort beats Alanga to the ball. Goes back to Iverson for some reason. Fort again, though. Lovely chest touch for the first touch. Gets it through the Forest player to Rooney Bargy. Darvic. That fumbles their way to Van Persie. And wasn't intentional by Mateus Cunha. Yeah, that back line does confuse me. Cunha's on this free kick. I want to check Joe Worrell because, okay, Mateus Cunha. I wasn't expecting a goal from there. I thought he might actually pass it to Darvic or something like that, but... goalkeeper. Who is their goalkeeper? I don't recognise the name. Brian Cortez. 2 stars by our standards. 1.2 million from Colo Colo. Yeah, not every player developed by Colo Colo is superb. He's made 2 appearances. He's not their first choice. But Joe Worrell in 2026 is only 29. He's one of those people that I assume is like 34 already. He's clearly listed by request. He's also not awful. And yeah, that is Burnley's Ekdal, who, scintillating form, got him a 9.5 million to Forest. What? How can you be this bad, this consistently? And then they're obviously best. How is he also 2.5 stars? Joe Worrell was 2.5 stars. They're the same star rating. He is 2 points better on average, technically, 1 point better on average mentally, and 1 point better on average physically. How are they the same star rating? Admittedly, long throws does somewhat skew the... Long throws and penalty taking does somewhat skew the technicals as kind of irrelevant technicals. But Niakite fundamentally is a much better centre-back. How are they both the same star rating? I know what it is. It's the English... I think if you weren't playing as an English team, they wouldn't be rated the same, star-wise. But I believe Homegrown Nation does factor into star ratings. Van Persie, great first touch. Oh, that'd have been a lovely goal if it had gone in. Actually, that might be a tip if it's still a thing that people don't realise. Obviously, in general, ignore star ratings. Or at the very least, don't define your signings on star ratings. But things like Homegrown Nation do factor into them, so be wary on that front, if they've not changed anything. I know it used to be the case. I presume it still is, judging by that anyway. Also things like traits, I believe, and positional capabilities factor into star rating as well. So the more positions they can play, the higher their star rating as a whole. It basically runs off their current ability in that respect, and positional play factors into their current ability. For once, Melvin Bard is the only person not booked. He only has 15 aggression. I don't really get that. That's not really high for a defender. 15 aggression, not superb composure and concentrations, but solid bravery, solid anticipation. I don't really understand why he gets booked every time. Oh, it's both centre-backs. Melvin's tired, though, as is Cunha. I kind of feel like Østegård is complacent, but I don't have any other centre-backs on the bench, actually, thinking about it. So, yeah, they're going to have to ride this one out. Smith Rowe to put this corner in. Cortez punches it. McFarlane. I must check what's going on with their goalkeeper situation at Forest afterwards, because I don't really know why they're playing him. Fort will get to that first because their player just gives up. Rooney Bargy. Rooney, back to Rooney again. Finds Østegård. Fort puts the ball across. Niakite in the way. I mean, that's the one advantage of having him at left back, I suppose, is the fact that he'd be the first man on those. McFarlane does get it to Kilman. I did think that was about to be intercepted. Back to McFarlane. Van Persie. 3-0. I'll be surprised if it's offside, but not overly annoyed just because, it's 2-3-0. No, he was off. As the ghost in the goal throws that back to the goalkeeper, his model looked more offside than the line did. The lines were literally on top of each other, despite the fact his foot was a good solid foot beyond that. Niakite is absolutely dead on his feet at left back. We should really be trying to exploit that a little bit more, just because Rooney Bargy probably shouldn't have played 90 minutes. Angelo on. In injury time, that'll be cleared as far as João Gomez. Our defender's still up, of course, from the set piece. Darvic does get it, sort of. Dennis. Sorry, is there front line right now Dennis and Parrott? There's a snooker joke in there somewhere. Smith Rowe. Still Smith Rowe. Back to McFarlane. Darvic. Edge of the box. Darvic. Good touches. Oh, actually deflects into Cortez, which is a bit unfortunate for him, because that would have been a lovely goal otherwise. He actually ended up with 3 strikers on the pitch. Dennis Parrott and Awani was still on at the end. Sorry, they've got... Wow, he is not as good. Does he not have potential in this game? I mean, he's barely played, actually. That might be part of the problem. But his potential's 2.5 stars. I thought he'd have a high-ish potential. Ethan Horvath is on the bench. I think their first choice is missing. But then again, so was ours, and he's still got a clean sheet. As we do sneak past Liverpool temporarily, they've got to play their game, of course. As it was Manchester United versus Celtic in the Champions League playoff knockout round. Manchester United versus Celtic in a knockout game. Oh, that's going to be feisty. Matt Turner, yes, still there. I wasn't sure if he'd still be there. He has conceded 156 goals in 93 appearances. Good God. Please explain to me how he's conceded 70 goals in a season and still got a 7 rating. And they're 8th as well. Now 10th. That's wild, but Van Persie's turned up, and you get to see that now. The fact he's turned up, he's scored in 3 consecutive fixtures. Got a 7.4 against Benfica, even though he didn't score, so maybe on the assist for that one, I can't quite remember. No, he didn't get an assist, but still got a 7.4 somehow. Scored in 3 consecutive fixtures, 4 in 3, of course, 2 against Manchester City there. Van Persie's turned up. There is a Carabao Cup final. You've probably seen it several times when I've been on this page. I've not mentioned it, because, quite frankly, who cares? We are defending it. When I got Manchester City in the semi-finals, I thought, oh good, we won't have to deal with that faff, and then we beat them both times. Bournemouth in the FA Cup 5th round, so end of the season, we'll have Manchester United, Chelsea as the last 2 games, if we need both of them, and maybe an FA Cup final. I wouldn't count on a Champions League final, which is kind of why I've not drawn attention to it. We did sneak in 8th. If we'd had the knockout fixtures, then that would have been part of this episode rather than Forest probably. But we didn't, because we got 8th. So that happens in March. I won't show you them because we'll get a big team and we'll get knocked out immediately. FA Cup final might be a thing. And end of season, depending if we're in a fight. Currently 6 points behind, but Manchester United and Arsenal do have a game in hand. Manchester United is obviously the main one there. Yeah, might be a more comfortable Champions League spot this year than just sneaking it. That's about where we are. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for sticking with me, of course, as well. And like, comment, subscribe. You know the deal by now. Until next time, thank you. Ciao.